Hello, my whimsy folk, and welcome back to Whimsical Butterflies. I'm really glad you're here to watch Greg. This is the second part of the series. I decided that I was going to draw all of the Over the Garden Wall, at least the main cast, for fall, because why not? Anyway, so this is Greg. He is the little brother to Wirt, and he and Wirt are lost in the unknown. For those of you who don't know what Over the Garden Wall is, it's a cartoon. It's really short. It's only got like 10 episodes, and it's only one season long. And I think it was done by Cartoon Network in like 2016 or something. I think that's when it was finished. But it's a really cute show, and a lot of people think it's like the pinnacle cartoon for fall. I really like it just because I think it's aesthetic and it's beautiful and it's just wonderful. So anyway, this is Greg. He's, like I said, the little brother of Wirt. He is very different from Wirt. Wirt tends to be much more like melancholy and artistic and very dramatic, and you know, he doesn't really know who he is or what he's doing. He's in high school, but Greg is much more in elementary school. Again, I don't really know how old he is exactly, but I know he's kind of on the younger end. I think he's in elementary school. He tends to be the comedic relief for the show, which I never really like comedic relief. Greg tends to be, he wants to keep peace and he wants to help Wirt. Because Wirt is such a melancholist, he tends to want Wirt to see the happier side of life. So he tries to cheer him up, but he also just does things. And so it's one of those things, but he's really sweet. He's really cute, and a lot of people really love Greg. There's a lot of videos out there that'll tell you that he's the meaning of like innocence in the show. He represents something symbolic, and I don't know that I believe all that, but he's a fun character nonetheless. So as you can see, I already did my sketch, and I wanted to keep his pants really high-waisted because it looked like that in the reference. I wanted to keep it all on point and make it accurate to what they drew. And yes, I did just copy his foot and change it because I'm really bad at drawing feet. I'm not the best. I'm gonna get better one day. But anyway, so I wanted to keep his tea kettle on his head. I wanted to keep the high overalls that are like pumpkined out, like the legs. Or I think that's what they're called. They're called like pumpkin pants, I think. But anyway, they're really cute, and I wanted to keep that same silhouette for the most part. I wanted him to look very energetic and very like happy and very excited, because that's what he is in the show. He's happy, he's excitable, he's very he kind of takes charge in a weird way. Like Wirt leads to some degree, but Greg is clearly a natural born leader. You can see that in the way that he engages with the animals. In one of the episodes, he leads them in a band. He has a lot of qualities that are leadership and very charismatic and excitable. You've seen me struggle with his face a lot. I was really struggling that day to draw his face. I think I rearranged everything using a select tool many times, and finally I was just like, I need to redraw the whole face and try again, and it worked a lot better. Sometimes you just gotta start over, and there's nothing wrong with that. I wanted his eyes to make him look very youthful. In my drawing style, what I tend to do is I give them the eye shape that I think that they have, and then the actual iris is what I make smaller or bigger depending on how old they are. So for kids, I tend to give them much bigger irises, which makes them look more innocent and youthful. Whereas adults, I tend to give them smaller irises because it makes them look much more serious and a lot less cute. And so that's how I make my differentiation. And of course, I gave them a button nose. And finally, the sketch was just about over. If you watched my last video with Wirt, you probably heard me talk about how I wanted Wirt to look very on brand to who he was, so I just would take the exact colors that he had in his outfit and I would just apply it straight onto the rest of his clothing because I wanted it to look like him. I wanted it to be that way, and honestly, I didn't want to pick colors. I felt too lazy for that. So I started doing something very similar with with Greg. I went ahead and started placing the colors so that I could, you know, take a look at it and figure out what needed to be where and start to use my more painterly style with it. I really do enjoy painting digitally. The last drawing that I did took me a little bit to remember how to do it. It had been a long time since I had drawn digitally. I tend to just do ink drawings. So it was a lot faster this time because I was much more comfortable with the medium again. And I started to just render everything out and get everything right where I wanted. Texture is a little bit difficult to do in digital, but it's something I'm still working on, but I think I'm getting a lot better at putting texture in and figuring out how to make it look like leather versus fabric versus a tea kettle. And so that's what I was really trying to get with Greg here. It was kind of funny as I was placing colors and looking at them. I realized that Greg's hair is not actually brown. Like Wirt's hair is actually brown and it's a very soft, desaturated brown, but Greg's hair is actually green. It's like that sick color of green that everyone hates. Like it's very olivey. But with the rest of his clothing, because they're much more green, it looks brown and it's really funny. It just kind of reminded me that there's so much to like color picking and color theory in general that I have so much to learn and figure out in my own character design, because I tend to think of hair colors in the terms of like natural hair colors, and I don't tend to think about outside inspiration and such. As we're getting to the end here, I wanted to give him a lot of blush. I didn't do that for Wirt, but that's because Wirt is a little bit older, but with Greg, I wanted him to look very youthful, and blush is one of the ways that I personally like to do it. And so, I don't know, that's what I like to do, and I like to make the skin feel very warm. I didn't this time change his skin color to be paler. I did that with Wirt, but I decided not to do that with Greg because I thought that it would... I didn't need him to be paler. He was okay with being olive toned and a little bit darker. I mean, he's a kid. He probably runs around outside, and especially in the summertime, he probably goes swimming and such, so I thought it was fine, whereas Wirt is much more of like the poet of, you know, I am alone in my sea of darkness, so I must stay inside and write poetry and make cassette tapes with songs on them from my crush. Yeah, Wirt, you did that. It was a thing. I chose to make his eyes green because the cartoon, all of the characters' eyes are black. We don't actually know what their eye color would have actually been. For Wirt, I decided to make his eyes brown, but for Greg, I wanted him to be green. I felt like green fit the rest of the colors that he had in his palette, but also it felt like such a youthful color and such a fun, like vibrant color. I thought that it would be fine, so I decided to choose green, and then I made all of the lighting shadows from the same direction because I do plan on putting all of the three main characters together, so it would look weird if one of them was lit from a different side. So just for, you know, putting them all together in a group photo, I thought that would be better. And we're just about done. There's just some more finishing touches that I was doing, texture mostly, and then of course I started rendering the background a little bit better because I felt like it was too dark, so I felt Greg was being lost in it, so I made it a little bit brighter. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel and for watching me draw Greg. It took me a while to get it up, but you know, I don't believe in consistency at the moment. Maybe one day, but probably not. Probably not ever. But thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope you come back to see Beatrice when I finish her and get her up and posted. And I hope you really enjoyed this video. And yeah, thank you so much.